Hey, welcome back to another episode of StumanRides here on YouTube. We're here at Alpinestars US headquarters, and we're going to talk to Heath about air vests. So I wanted to come here to Alpinestars and talk to Heath a little bit about air vests. It's fairly new technology, I guess, but it's something that I rely on every time I go out on the racetrack. And Alpinestars is kind of the leader here. They have a couple of different products available. So I had the opportunity to come up here to Alpinestars in Torrance and talk to Heath about the different product offerings they have and some of the technical aspects of air vests. I think if you're not wearing an air vest, you should. It's a really good idea. The technology is available, and so there's always that risk whenever you ride your bike, either on the track or on the street really, that you could fall down. And if you do fall down, it'd be really nice to have an air vest on. So let's go inside and talk to Heath about so here about we are. Vests. Welcome to Alpinestars, and who's this guy? Heath. Checking out some of the stuff you got here, man.
Hey, yeah.
So what's that? That looks like a Nicky suit to me.
This is, what year? I believe this is 2006. Yeah, so this is Nicky's championship suit.
Nice.
2006.
You know, I just got a Nicky bike, did I tell you?
No.
I bought a Nicky Hayden Edition 848 Ducati.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, very cool. I just picked it up a few weeks ago, so maybe I could take that suit home with me and put it on top of the bike.
I didn't say that. This is Fabio Quartararo's suit from last year's championship.
Nice.
And
very
earlier
cool.
We were talking about accordion stretch paneling and
Yep.
as far as tech airs go. So you see how the accordion stretch paneling comes down to the hips on these suits?
Yeah.
That's to accommodate for the hips expanding on the airbags. Whereas the older suits, you see the older suits
Yeah,
go
just
across.
normal, yeah.
Yeah, this is Fabio's suit from MotoGP last year
Nice.
that he wore. You can see some elbow marks here, some knee marks here.
Look, he doesn't even drag his knee.
There we go. This is Jake Gagne's championship suit from last year,
Wow,
one of his backups.
very cool.
This is Jorge Lorenzo's suit from 2008.
Wow,
So Jorge's suit.
very cool. How come they're all so short?
Well, you should see, we don't have Danny Pedrosa's suit up here, but his is really small.
I actually saw that. I think Ken Tam had that out at the
Yeah.
track, and yeah, it was super tiny. All that Marquez is
This is one of Marquez's
that's
suits.
pretty small too.
All of the suits have a tag, so you know what year they're from.
Yeah.
This is from 2013. This is Alex Rins.
Wow,
His Suzuki suit from 2018.
nice.
Had a bit of a tumble here.
Yeah, looks like it held up pretty well considering.
Yeah.
Are these all? Are they kangaroo suits or are they leather?
Yeah, these are kangaroo.
All kangaroo,
All of the
yeah.
MotoGP suits would be kangaroo.
Yeah.
Taka Nakagami, I think this is from 2019.
Are you allowed to sell kangaroo suits in the U.S. anymore?
In the U.S., yes. California,
Not California.
no.
Yeah.
California,
Okay.
they don't let you sell
Yeah.
kangaroo.
Interesting.
Taka Nakagami suit from MotoGP 2018.
Very cool.
And we just have these on display. You know, people want to come in and take pictures
Yeah.
and selfies with them.
Very neat.
You get a chance to see the suits that the guys actually wore.
All right.
Here we have my R3.
Very cool.
This is a 2021 Monster Edition R3 with obviously different bodywork.
Yeah. Who's the bodywork by? Because it looks almost like a retro, like a 500 GP bike in a way.
Yeah, so the kit was made by GG Retrofits.
Yeah.
So he will basically take you can take a stock R3, bolt on this bodywork and have your modern bike now look like a retro bike, but you have all of the modern reliability.
I did a video of the GG Retrofits R3 bodywork.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
yeah, it was it looks very cool.
Yeah, so I designed this one after Wayne Rainey's 1990 bike.
That looks like Kenny Roberts.
That's Kenny Roberts on one side. We got Wayne Rainey. He signed the other. You can see that over there.
Wayne Rainey on that side. Very cool.
Yeah, and this is my track bike.
Nice.
So take this out to track days and have some fun on it.
So is everybody at Alpinestars here pretty much into motorsports and motorcycles? You have to assume, right?
I would say the majority of the people who work here, are passionate about motorsports.
Yeah.
And for the people that aren't, they really have an appreciation for what the athletes do. Because being exposed to the fastest athletes in the world, working here, you really get a first-hand view, of what it's like to be, on a race bike or in an F1 car or a NASCAR. Just because our reach is so extended when it comes to motorsports. It's every form of motorsports you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, I think when you're exposed to that level of excellence, you tend to mirror it a bit, and that's probably reflected in the company quite a bit. Hey, here we are. We're at Alpinestars. This is Heath from Communications. We're here at the headquarters of Alpinestars in Torrance, like I said before during the intro, and we're going to talk about air vests. So, Heath, why don't you tell us a little bit about, we have some product here on the table. Why don't you tell us a little bit about these two air vests first?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the newest of the two, because obviously we've been doing airbag systems for over 20 years, so they've evolved over the years. But the two latest ones that are currently in use now, well, there's actually three. That's the racing system. This is the Tech Air 5, this is the Tech Air 10. So I'm only showing you the newest ones because the Tech Air Race, that's been out there, everybody knows about it. For those that don't know about it, it's one of the first airbag systems that we've had that is integrated into the suit. So it's a system that can be plugged in, attached to the suit. It attaches to an LED panel on the arm, and that's basically what you see for most track day guys are using that. A few years ago, we switched over to making this. So this is the Tech Air 5. So the Tech Air 5, you see there's a little LED panel right here in the lower chest, abdomen area. The LED panel is here rather than on the arm. And you might ask, why is it there? And so what this allows, this is a universal system. So this can be worn under any one or two piece suit, or if you're a rider that likes to ride on the street too, you like to commute, this can be used for either. We actually have guys and girls in Moto America racing with these and other organizations racing in these. So this is something that you could just buy off the shelf, but what this allows you to do is to change an algorithm.
So when you say that can be worn under any suit, does that include other brands?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Doesn't
okay.
matter the brand. As long as you have about a golf ball size space between any part of your upper body where this goes,
right?
That's enough space for this to deploy and fill up that gap.
So
if
whereas
you're wearing a suit that's super tight, you try and wear this underneath, for one, you're probably not going to get it on.
Right.
But for two, if it deploys, it's going to be incredibly tight.
Yeah.
Not that crashing is comfortable.
Right.
But to have that amount of space, at least this gets to do what it needs to do without over pressurizing maybe any stitching, whatever the suit may be. If it's an old suit, who knows?
That's
This
pretty.
just gives it adequate space.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I know the previous version that I had, you had to have a Tech Air compatible suit. It had to have like a space on the arm for the LEDs. So this will go under pretty much anything as long as there's enough gap between the suit and the rider so that it can inflate properly.
It'll go under any brand. It
Awesome.
doesn't matter if it's Alpinestars or the other brands. I mean, it can go underneath anything.
Awesome.
And so how can it work between a street scenario and a racing scenario? What's the difference? So think about, I like to say you're a backpack on a rider. What does it feel like as you're riding on the street? What does it feel like when you're riding on the track? Two very different feelings. So this system can be programmed to understand either sources of riding. Obviously, if you're on the track, hard braking, hard on the gas, extreme lean angles, lots of different kinds of movement. Where on the street, you're pretty mellow, pretty slow. Braking, you're not braking so hard. So the algorithm basically understands those movements differently. And with the 5, you could program it using your phone. Either algorithm can work. Just simply a press of a button on your phone will switch it from race mode to street mode.
So if you're riding on a racetrack in street mode, is there an opportunity there where it might go off when it's unintended, or?
So the biggest scenario where you would have a Tech Air 5 go off, having it in street mode on the track, isn't necessarily on the track, it's off the track. So how the system works, one of the biggest differences is as soon as you zip this up, you zip it up all the way, you connect this closure right here seals the connection, and the system starts going through its processes. So right here, green and yellow, standby mode. If I move this thing around a little bit, it'll turn to solid green.
Does that work off the accelerometers,
yes.
or is there
accelerometers and gyroscopes?
Is there GPS in there as well?
No GPS.
Okay, so it's just accelerometer. Okay, gotcha.
So if you're in a poor GPS area,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Perfect.
Because it's all internal.
Right.
So what I was getting to, in race mode, this is green and yellow until you are on the gas, getting on the track.
Yep.
When you get off the track, come back into the hot pit lane, it goes back to the standby mode. In street mode, as soon as you put this on, you start walking around, it'll go to green. And it won't disarm until you disconnect.
Pull it off.
This connection. So why would you think that would be an instance that you would need? Say you're riding on the street, pull up to a stop sign, traffic light, you're waiting for something, someone hits you from behind. If you're in race mode on the street, it'll be in standby mode. Nothing will happen. If you're in street mode, the system stays green the whole time.
Right.
Until you disengage that flap. So if you're sitting at a stoplight in street mode, someone impacts you from behind, it's fast enough to deploy before the vehicle would hit you.
Nice.
But if you did that in street mode, if you're in street mode off the track, you forget.
Yeah.
You come in from riding. Your friend's next to you. Dude, that was so great. You passed me and I passed you. Oh man, boom. Hit him on the back.
Yeah.
The system thinks you're being rear-ended.
Yeah.
And it'll deploy.
Or you trip over your spare tires that are laying in your pit or whatever.
I've seen it happen more times than I'd like to admit.
All right. Good to know.
So that's the main differences between street mode and race mode. But also think about this from a crashing standpoint. When you're on the track, are you impacting into things or are you losing control?
Yeah, typically you're losing control and then sliding, yeah.
So the system understands that too. A racing crash is a loss of control, right? You see Marquez or someone high side, poof, airbag goes off, they're flying, they land, roll.
Right.
It's understanding that an impact on the street is much faster.
Yeah. Is there a difference in the way the algorithm behaves between street and track when you have like let's call it a minor crash? Like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what are the conditions that it takes to actually set it off? Because, I've heard, I had a personal experience where I had it was a minor low side, and I slid out very graceful and my airbag didn't deploy, but that's fine because it was a very minor crash, right? So I guess where is that threshold? What does it take?
It's hard to explain electronically. When does it need to go off and when does it not?
Right.
The algorithm knows when you need it. It's just based on thousands and thousands of crashes.
Yeah.
Knowing what a real crash is from the testing standpoint. I mean, this was testing for a long time to make sure the algorithm, if you just have a low side. I had a low side at turn 2. Look at really low side, slid off, airbag didn't go off. It's not, doesn't need to.
So here's another question. I'm interested because I ride a lot of supermoto. Is the airbag compatible with supermoto? Like, because you're taking jumps and stuff. So
jumps, absolutely not.
Yeah.
If you're on the all asphalt form of supermoto, you'd be okay.
Yeah, but
the second you went into the dirt,
whoop section, things like that could possibly set it off.
It would go off.
Yeah.
The second you hit a jump, it would go off because it thinks. You got to think, like I said, you're a backpack on a rider.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, he's crashing.
Yeah. It doesn't know the difference between you getting air and you high-siding, for example. Yeah.
But the off-road Tech Air, which is coming next year, has an algorithm that's designed off of Dakar. Dakar, they jump. Dakar, off-road.
Right.
So the off-road algorithm will have a specific understanding of what's needed for that scenario. Think about American Flat Track. TTs, they jump. All of them wear airbags. There's a specific algorithm for TTs when they race, right? So they can jump. So it can be done, but it's all done specifically for that discipline of riding.
Perfect.
But for the everyday person scenario, it's race or it's track.
Yeah, good.
Sorry, it's race or it's street.
Or it's street, yeah.
That
makes sense. As long as you're on asphalt, you're good. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, as long as you're on asphalt, you're good. But this system, there might be guys out there that will ride his GS adventure bike once in a while on the weekends, wants to do fire roads.
Sure.
You could easily wear this with your GS and your adventure gear and go and ride off-road. I've ridden with one on Africa Twin. I dumped the bike a little bit in some soft sand. Airbag didn't go off. It didn't need to. I've had guys ridden with them. They high-sided into a rock, and this thing went off and saved their butts from getting injured. One of the biggest wow factors is, why would I wear an airbag? What are the benefits? Yeah, I understand airbag, yeah, it's cool, but mathematically, what does it do as far as impact goes? So let's say you're wearing your basic riding jacket or your leather suit. You high side, turn 4. You land on your shoulder, you're sliding and all of that. This will take away 95% of an impact force compared to a standard leather suit. 95% of that pressure and energy is gone. It's basically taken up by this airbag that puts like this much high pressure of air between your body and the asphalt. So when it lands, it compresses that air and it holds it in like a giant bear hug. That's what I would imagine. Like, imagine you high side and a giant bear is going, "Oh, I got you." Yeah. Like, that's what this does. In like layman's terms, 95% of an impact force. Now, where exactly is it protecting? With the Tech Air 5, it's protecting basically everywhere where you see gray. So all the way down here to your shoulders, your full back, your ribs, your kidneys, all the way down to here, your full chest. Basically anywhere you see all of this, there's an airbag underneath that's protecting it. There's 2 canisters in here filled with argon gas. Argon is lighter than air, so it makes it quicker to inflate. And when this deploys, it's fully deployed and fully inflated for 5 seconds. The average crash, 1.5 seconds. Yeah. Why would you have more? There's been instances, I remember this one very clearly, Johan Zarco, crash in MotoGP, tumble. He stands up, he's still fully inflated, another bike comes flying at him and hits him as he's walking, yet his airbag was fully inflated. Yeah. So he was 100% protected by the airbag, even though he had crashed 2.5 seconds before. Yeah. So our engineers looked at crash after crash after crash after crash. What does a rider need? Okay, crash is about 1.5 seconds, but what if? Right. So that's why 5 seconds fully inflated. And then what happens? It goes back down to flat, and then that's it. This system can be sent in to our team. The first 3 deployments, you only have to change the canisters. But after the 3rd crash, you change the airbag and the canisters. So there's a lot. There's things like $299 for the airbag and the canisters. It's like $150 around there. I don't remember the exact price, just to change the canisters. But every time it's sent in, every sensor is checked out. Everything has gone through to make sure that the system is 100% accurate and ready to go.
And it's only using one canister per deployment, correct?
No, this system uses both.
Oh, okay. So if it goes off, then you have to send it in.
The race system, which is out there, a lot of guys and girls still use the race system.
Yep.
The race system will deploy 2 times.
Right.
And
Okay.
that system is still out there. There's still suits that are out there with that LED on the arm.
Yeah.
But all the suits moving forward will not have that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because we're going to Tech Air 5 and Tech Air 10.
Yeah,
Tech Air
and
10, which is next. We'll talk
Is there more volume of bladders within the newer suits that it needs to use both of them?
It's about the same.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more of the airbag in the lower portion because this is more street
Right.
oriented. So there's a little bit more in the front, but it's not
Yeah,
much
very
compared
similar.
to a racing system. A lot of guys and girls, every time we put this up, as far as promotion go, the first thing people will say, it's too hot. It's going to be too hot. I don't want to deal with anything being too hot. Okay. What's more worth it? Being a little bit warmer when you're on the track, but honestly, you don't even think about it.
Right.
Like every time I've been out, I've never been like, oh my God, I'm so hot. You don't think about it.
Yeah.
So with the Tech Air 5,
Yeah.
so I'm going to take this thing open. So you see all of this mesh.
Mm-hmm.
And if I held it up, you can basically see through it, like on this side. There's like a
you
mesh
can
thing.
see through right
you can
here.
see my hand on the other side.
Yep.
So a lot of mesh on the outer materials.
Yep.
But also, let's open it up. The airbag itself also has small laser cut holes. If you look, you see inside, you see all those white holes? If you can see that in there, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'll pan around.
But there's also perforations on the airbag bladder itself. So the airbag itself is perforated to allow airflow to come through to the body, even through the back, even through the chest, everywhere.
Yeah.
Because that obviously the first thing you think of, I have, people will say, I have a plastic bag, between my leather suit and me.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's perforated.
But it's not like a full plastic bag that's surrounding your whole body.
No.
It's like you could equate it to having a few small sandwich bags in key locations that are spread out that you get ventilation all around those sandwich bags. Yeah.
And also the suits now, compared to 5 years ago, have way more ventilation.
Sure.
We have new materials such as Matrix, such as Ride Knit, that we put in suits now to accommodate for that.
Yeah.
We have a suit that's out now called the Fusion leather suit. It's like $1,400. It is so breathable. Like the first time I rode in it, I went out on the track in my Tech Air 5 and I gave it the gas and I was like, oh, I must have forgot to zip up. Oh, there was so much airflow coming to my chest that I honestly thought I forgot to zip up my suit.
Nice.
So we think about that when it comes to rider comfort, right?
Yeah.
Everything is about protecting the rider, number one, but if you're not comfortable, nothing matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I can say from personal experience riding at Chuckwalla, which can be 118 degrees in the summertime, that I've never felt like, oh, this is way hotter than a normal suit would be because I had that air vest on. It just never even crossed my mind.
Yeah,
So
and your suit choices, that's why we have Tech Air compatible suits. But everything we make now is Tech Air compatible.
Right.
Because of that reason that we want to make sure that it's comfortable. And it needs to be comfortable because you don't want a rider to not buy an airbag because, it's going to be too hot.
Sure. Yeah.
We thought about that.
Yeah, especially if they're going to be using it on the street as well. Absolutely.
And that's the great thing about Tech Air 5 is we have professional racers using it, and we have someone like me that's commuting in it to work every day.
Yeah.
Like for me, this is like my helmet.
Right.
I don't go anywhere without wearing this.
Yeah.
Because I see all the emails come in from the moms, from the dads, from the wives saying, you saved my husband, my son, my daughter's life, I feel, because they had zero injury. They were hit by a car, they fell off their bike, they were crashed. The emails we get are just incredible.
Yeah, I was saying, I filled in a little intro prior to coming in, and I was saying that like there's no reason not to be wearing an air vest these days. Like the technology is there, it can easily save your life, and it's like, you know, if you go to a racetrack especially, you're going to invest money in safety gear. You might as well have the best gear that you can get.
Yeah. And so and this is $749.
Yeah.
To have a full airbag protecting your whole upper body without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
You have a crash, an incident, like I said, 95% of any impact force is taken away.
Yeah.
That alone
awesome.
is like, duh, why would I not? So that wraps up the 5.
All right, so let's
let's
talk about the Tech 10.
So this is the Tech Air 10. So the Tech Air 10 was launched earlier this year. And so what's the biggest difference from the Tech Air 10 to the Tech Air 5? I mean, you see an obvious difference when you look at the two.
Yeah.
But you also see, this is the LED panel here. So the previous LED panel was on the arm of the suit.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have this Bluetooth LED panel that connects here to the belt. And this can be put on the wrist of a suit. We have suits coming out where it's like a pocket that fits basically, it's about right here on the suit.
Yep.
So if you crash, the previous model was over here.
Yeah.
So when you would crash, it would shred down.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's on the inside. It's more of a lesser of an impact area. All of our studies of crashing, this is an area that doesn't get damaged as much, so we moved it here. So there's little pockets on the new suits that this can come into.
Mm-hmm.
For me, on my bike, I have a piece of Velcro that's mounted on my dashboard, so I can see it on my dashboard that it's in the operating mode, and I don't have to look down.
Right.
Because a lot of guys, well, I don't want to look down at my arm. Well, you can put it on your bike, or some guys leave it attached on the belt and just keep it underneath the suit.
Yeah.
You can do it either way.
Makes sense.
So this charges through the belt. And the belt is basically the connecting factor, because with the Tech Air 5, there's no on, there's no off switch. The on and off switch is when you connect this clasp. When this Velcro thing comes together, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that I always like to say with any of these systems, and we had it happen at the track last week. Someone had a Tech Air 5 that they just got. They took it off quickly and they threw it in the van. And guess what happened? It deployed. Because after they took it off, they didn't wait for the LED panels to stop.
Oh, I got it. Yep.
And that it thought that it was being used, and it thought that he was crashing. So he threw it in the van and it blew up. So with any of these systems, you have to respect it.
Yeah, make sure it's disarmed before
Make sure
you
it's
start.
disarmed before you take it off, put it away, and store it even. Anytime you store it, they should always be disconnected. If you're shipping it or taking it somewhere on a flight, here's the other thing, you can't take any airbag as a carry-on. It has to be checked in. So anybody that's traveling out there. For the Tech Air 5, you just roll it up like this. That's how I store mine. You roll it up like that. And that's how you store it in your track bag or whatever you're going to do. And this has about 30 hours of riding time before you have to charge it again. 26, 24, right around in that zone.
Oh, by the way, we mentioned getting them recharged. What's the turnaround time? Like if somebody has to send it in, how long does it take for you guys to redo it and get it back to them about?
I've seen the recharging take less than a week. It also depends if it's prime season. If it's prime racing season, usually early in the season, where a lot of guys are crashing, it's taken up to a month.
Okay.
But it just depends on if we have the parts handy. During COVID, it was very difficult for us to get air bladders. So some guys were waiting 3 months to get it, and it was just unfortunate, but there was nothing we could do. So many people were crashing, and it blew through our air bladders.
Those supply chain issues have been resolved though since.
Was a lot. We have inventory here on the 5s. We have inventory on the bladders, the canisters. We're all good to go now. Okay, so back to the 10. So the number one thing about the Tech Air 10 is that it has airbags all the way down to the hips. So airbags come all the way down to here. So you see this is a base layer. So the Tech Air 10, the airbag is built into a base layer. So these base layers, you can see the airbag here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the back, and the airbag here. Here it is in the pocket. So this is the airbag that goes inside the hip area of the base layer. So now you have the same airbag protection that is utilized in MotoGP. In MotoGP, you see when they crash, they look like this gorgeous hourglass figure when they crash.
Yeah.
So you got your full upper body, you have your shoulders, you have your back, you have your full chest, and now the hips. Because what was happening in MotoGP, like I said, our team, we have a team that goes to every single round. At least 8 staff people that are there to support our MotoGP riders, World Superbike riders, Moto America riders. Every time a rider crashes, the suit is analyzed. The airbags are analyzed. Injuries are analyzed. And what we were seeing over time was the riders were getting more hip injuries. And so our airbag team said, let's bring the airbag down to the hips. It's easy to do. All we need to do is this, this, and that. And the team did the first one, I think it was 2017. I have to check my notes. But it was very early on when we had the first airbag in the hips. And then now it's available to the public. So everything we do in MotoGP eventually finds its way to the everyday rider. We find a way to maximize its potential for the mass market. So that's what this is. Tech Air 10 is derived from MotoGP and all the crashing and the savings of injuries that have happened in MotoGP. So the Tech Air 10 is basically a base layer. I'm going to disconnect this. As soon as you see that, the LEDs will eventually turn off because it knows I don't need it.
There they go.
So the airbag in the chest, here you see it here. So it's like a finger system. There's all these fingers. Instead of having a bladder like the Tech Air 5 where it's zippered in the middle, the zipper goes off to the side. And so that airbag, it's kind of hard to see in here, but there's fingers of the airbag that go through the whole chest.
Yeah, you can see them.
You can kind of see them through there. So when those inflate and deploy, it covers the rider's whole chest. Then around on the outside, go to the back. So here's a back protector that's integrated into it. You also have a longer back protector. When you look at the two side by side, you'll see that this one goes a little bit lower. But the differences are, this has a bit more protection here. This has just a different kind of design that allows a little bit more breathability. And this one you charge from the back. This is the area where you charge this. And then Tech Air 5, it's right up here, right up on the top. And that's where you'll charge the 5.
This basically functions as an inner suit as well. Is that inner suit, can you separate it from the airbag so that you can wash it?
Yes, so that's exactly what I was going to get to next. So for me, when I'm wearing this, I only wear the base layer pants. I don't wear a top because this, for me, works as a top.
Sure.
I've seen guys use this with a top and this, but it's preference.
Yeah.
It can be used either way. But this basically can be zipped out. I'm not going to do the whole thing now, but the airbag can basically be detached from the base layer. The base layer can be washed, and then the base layer basically goes back. The airbag gets tied back in.
Put it back in the pockets.
And zip back in, and you have fresh as a daisy base layer with your airbag in it. Because the challenging thing with the Tech Air Race and the Tech Air 5 is they have to be hand washed. So it's a little bit, it takes more time.
Sure.
And some guys are stinkier than others.
Yeah.
So with the 10, it makes it really easy to wash it. And by the early spring, you can buy a secondary base layer that has full legs. It comes with the short version. But you can buy a secondary base layer that will be the full leg.
Yeah, that'll be nice. I prefer that myself just because it makes your legs move more freely inside of your suit. So
So that'll be coming next year.
Yeah, very cool.
So that's, I mean, really there's so much more that can be said, but this is the basics. And the Tech Air 10 works similar to the 5 to where it's universal.
Right.
But with Tech Air 10, like I said, by having that extra bit of centimeters in space, you also need to have a little bit on your hips.
And your legs, and
So if you're currently wearing a suit that's really tight on your legs, but it's okay on the top, it's not ideal because the bottom airbag on your hips is going to come out like that.
Sure.
So imagine both of them come out, it's really going to stretch the suit out.
Yeah.
All of our suits, the new suits, have accordion stretch paneling that comes down the back. Because if you look at MotoGP, the accordion stretch paneling on a MotoGP rider, you'll see the accordion paneling come down.
Yeah.
And that's to allow for the expansion of the hip area. The suit is designed to expand with the Tech Air 10.
Yeah.
So there's Tech Air 10 compatible suits, and there's non-Tech Air 10 compatible suits. All the suits moving forward from this year and on will all be Tech Air 10 compatible, and you'll see that accordion stretch paneling that curves down the rider's body, and that's to accommodate this.
Nice. Very good. Well, thanks for running us through the racing setup. So I understand there's one other that we haven't talked about yet, but it's really more geared just for street riders.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that one a little bit?
So the Tech Air 3. So the Tech Air 3 is really designed for that commuter. For someone that's basically riding to work every day or riding through the canyon roads, the Tech Air 3 can be worn on the outside of a jacket or the inside of a jacket, where all of the other pieces need to be worn inside. So the Tech Air 3 offers that different kind of choice. And this does not have a back protector integrated into it. The back protector is basically an insert, just as you have in a standard riding jacket. But when it's fully inflated, you have your full back, you have your full chest. And there's also, this is a more introductory price point, whereas there's the Tech Air 5 and the Tech Air 10. You're obviously paying the most for the Tech Air 10, and you're paying, this is the most affordable way to get into it. But this is not to be used for track riding.
Yeah.
The algorithm that's offered on this only is all street.
Yeah.
Street, street, street.
Probably even for like an aggressive canyon rider, they would be better off with one of the other ones even.
Yeah, aggressive canyon rider, you know, if this is a person that doesn't have a lot of money to spend but wants an airbag, save a couple $100, yet have an airbag, this is a good choice.
Okay.
But if you're someone that's really ripping on the canyons, God forbid that people still do that. But the Tech Air 5 is the way to go.
And if you're that guy that rides down the freeway with a t-shirt and the icon armor outside of the t-shirt, like this is perfect for you, right?
Yeah. These are for sale now, and I've actually seen a few of them on the street with guys wearing t-shirts, you know, with this. I mean, it's better than nothing. But their elbows and everything are wide
definitely
open.
not recommended, especially when you can get like any of these. I mean, hey, if you're looking for something that looks a little bit more normal, then you got a flannel right there. So there's a lot of protection options other than t-shirts. So
those are coming out next year. You're not supposed to look at that stuff.
I can edit that out.
No, it's okay. But yeah, the Tech Air 3, just giving you another option.
Yeah.
We have Tech Air Off-Road. We have Tech Air 10. We have Tech Air 5. We have Tech Air 3. We have Tech Air Race, Tech Air Street. That's 6 systems that are currently on the market, minus Off-Road. Off-Road is coming out next year.
Can you run through the price points for the 3 that we just talked about real quick?
Yeah. So breaking down the prices on all the different systems, $599, $749 for the Tech Air 5, and $999 for Tech Air 10. The Tech Air Race was like $1,100. Yeah. Some people are like, how can Tech Air 10 be more affordable than Tech Air Race? That's just what the team wanted to do, find a way to save some costs, save some value for the customers, and have it be available. So you're saving money but getting more protection. And so that's what really differentiates the systems is affordability and safety. And number one, we want to keep riders safe as much as possible. We've believed in this technology and we've been devoted to this technology for over 20 years, and we're not stopping. You know, there's going to be another one. There's going to be a motocross eventually down the line, and who knows what's next. As riders evolve, speeds evolve, more people come in. Maybe there's another Tech Air 3 that's even more of an entry-level point. We just want it to be safe as possible for people to do what you love. You love to ride. You love motorcycles. Yet we know it's a dangerous thing. Why not increase the level of protection by having airbags? And we've seen it thousands and thousands of times, and it's just going to keep happening. What we hope is for people like you that are watching this to go, oh, you know what? I've always thought about that. You know, if you know someone that's crashed wearing one, it changes your mind. I've crashed in one, it changed my mind, even though I've been around it for a long time. That moment that it happens, there's something that changes. Where the ambition of what we're hoping is this becomes like your helmet. Do you go on the track without your helmet? Do you ride on the street or the canyon without your helmet? No. Why would you not use an airbag just in case something happens? And there's a lot of times it's not the rider's fault. It's not your fault. It's a car that I've seen happen to a friend of mine. Crossed over into the other coming lane on a canyon road, hit the back of his wheel. He flew off the bike, airbag went off, he tumbled, was completely fine. Bike was destroyed. He called me. Oh my gosh, dude, I just got taken out on the canyon. I was wearing my Tech Air 5. I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine. And he's like, now for him, it's like his helmet. He's like, I don't go anywhere without my airbag. And we're hoping the goal with all of this is that's what happens to you.
Nice, thanks, Heath. I really appreciate it. And just to kind of add to what he was just talking about, so for me personally, I started using an air vest over a year ago, and I guess it was almost 2 years ago. And for me, racing is about confidence, right? When you go out on a racetrack, having confidence in your equipment and confidence in your motorcycle is key. Like, confidence allows you to go faster. When you put on an air vest, it's like, I don't want to say you feel like you're invincible, but you feel like you have another layer or another level of protection on. So when you talk about, you know, a lot of going faster is about being confident and feeling comfortable. And when you put an air vest on, it adds to that. So not saying it can make you faster, but it can probably make you faster.
It actually does. And we have this saying, and you know, it's in our ads. It says, you know, Alpinestars faster, but it exactly what Stu said happens. I've seen it with Marc Marquez personally. Like, he goes out for qualifying. He looks at his arm. Yeah. He sees that it's green and he goes. I've seen it a time where it was flashing and he was like, well, what's the flashing mean? And the guy goes, oh, that's okay. You just have another charge left because he had crashed once. He's like, oh, okay, and he goes out. Yeah. So it does give you that confidence because you know you can push it a little bit harder, knowing the fact that if I do crash, like, I know I'm racing and I'm gonna push it. If I crash, at least I have this extra bit of protection to keep me safe. And time again, you see riders in MotoGP, high side in qualifying, run back to their bike, get back out again and go. Yeah. Where in the past, it wasn't like that. Yeah. You crash and you broken collarbone. Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things that we've seen from the development of all of this is how many broken collarbones do you see these days in MotoGP? It's incredibly rare because of the airbag technology. Yeah, and when you start talking about speed, you know, I talk about this in the new racer school that I teach. You can spend a lot of money on your motorcycle and it's not going to make you a whole lot faster. So, you know, everybody, they put a titanium exhaust system on their bike, the first thing they do when they get it, right? That's going to add 4 horsepower or something and make you negligibly faster. So why not take that $1,500 that you would invest in a titanium exhaust system, take a portion of that and put that into an air vest, and you'll get the speed benefit. Plus, if you do fall down, you're going to save money on medical bills. So I think it's a huge thing. And like I was saying earlier, if you're not wearing an air vest, you really should be. So take that to heart. And well, thanks a lot for watching StumanRides. If you appreciated this video and you like the information, please like, subscribe, comment on the video. If you have any questions, I can hit Heath up. I got his email address and we can respond to any questions that you might have in the comments section. And so again, thanks a lot for watching StumanRides. Yeah, see you later.